So in this one, I want to talk about the importance of managing your prospecting pipeline. That's what this art of prospecting is all about, is being able to attract more customers, convert more of your leads and opportunities into booked meetings, because that's what it comes down to. Most companies, most agencies don't know how to do this, and which is exactly why they're failing. So the likelihood that a customer will call you out of the blue and buy is less than 100%. Okay. The inbound marketing doesn't necessarily work because it takes such a massive audience size in order for people to start converting, start calling you on a regular basis. So implementing websites, funnels, webinars, and all the other forms of automation reduces these chances even further. Companies without a clear prospecting program will always run out of money before their next paying customer. Okay, your company will literally cease to exist if you don't have sales. Now, Princeton based Edison Partners, a growth equity investment firm, conducted a study that found companies who invest in their marketing and sales grew 30% faster. The single most important thing you can do to create a reliable income, even when marketing, is to implement a prospecting program and manage your prospecting pipeline. Keep track of these leading indicators so that you know how much potential revenue that you have in the pipeline for your salespeople. Your revenue is literally a direct reflection of the number of qualified offers that you make. That means that your prospecting pipeline is incredibly important so that you can be making more qualified offers to more prospects. This is why it's so important that you know how to prospect for new customers and you have a clear system for doing so. You can either go find your prospects, this is called cold or outbound prospecting, or you can attract your ideal customers through inbound lead generation and then have a conversation with them then. So let's start with inbound lead generation. Now, the job of your marketing is literally to generate and warm leads. In order to do this, the first step is to find your audience online. Any place that your audience is coming together. I like to use Facebook groups. It is the quickest and easiest way for me to identify whether or not I'm able to target an audience and how large those audiences are, how likely they are to come together into one place. So I like to start with Facebook groups, hunt around, and see if I can find my audience on there. Any media that your audience is consuming, this could be TV, radio, hashtags, influencers, literally the news, channels on Roku, whatever, any place that you could get in front of your audience, find and locate those. Now, you want to make your audience aware. Get your message in front of your audience to make them aware of their problem or aware of your solution, aware of you, or aware of your offer. If you didn't notice, this is the buyer's journey. To create a list that you control and can nurture. Now, from the Facebook groups, I like to be nurturing these people, making them aware of me, and then adding them as friends to my profile so that now I can actually make offers to them from my Facebook profile and not get kicked out of a group. Another great way to do this is to invite them to your own Facebook group and catch their email address in the process, or drop a lead magnet on your profile and with a link to an opt-in form where you can capture their email. So the ultimate idea here is that you benefit from pre-made lists that you don't control but you have access to, and you use those to create your own list that you do control, that you can market to and nurture to on a regular basis without having to pay every time you communicate with the customers, because really that's what the ad companies are trying to get you to do, right? Okay, number 3, generate leads. Get them to raise their hand and show an interest in your solution. Example, lead magnets or free resources. You want to get them to initiate a conversation with intent to solve their problem. So if you've gone into a Facebook group, you've communicated, you've warmed these leads, you added them to your personal profile, now you're nurturing them further. on your profile with posts. You can drop some call to action posts on your personal profile with some lead magnets in there and getting those people to raise their hand and say, hey, I'm interested in what it is that you offer. This is going to produce a lot of warm leads for you. You can post calls to action once or twice a week. If you find a group where you're able to go post a call to action in there, great, use it. Sometimes those groups are good, sometimes they're not. But ultimately, if you're doing these kinds of posts and you're getting your audience to raise their hand and say, yes, I'm interested in this fractional solution or this, 5-minute consumable lead magnet, then you can get them into conversation. This is the easiest way to produce a lot of warm leads. You can expect to produce about 20 leads for every call to action post that you do against your warm list. You can also initiate the conversation through a cold or outbound prospecting. Okay. Now, what I just described was the inbound lead generation, where most companies are just creating lots and lots of content with a couple of mixed in sprinkled calls to action. They're just producing content expecting that these people are going to go find their contact form or find their order button and place an order. That process requires hundreds of thousands of people in your audience to actually start creating a consistent flow of inbound customers. You don't want to rely on that. In order to make a small audience highly profitable, you want to add this portion of it. And this portion of it is the cold or outbound prospecting. Now, the job of prospecting is to set appointments and to keep your pipeline full of meetings with prospects so that you can make more qualified offers. So in order to do this, the first step is to engage your cold or your warm leads in a conversation. Now, this could be the act of the inbound marketing. Somebody raises their hand, interested in what you offer, and you engage them in the conversation. Or this could be you finding somebody in a group that suffers from the problem you solve and engaging them in a conversation. So that's what I mean by warm or cold leads. Now, to make a small audience profitable, you need to initiate the conversation. You cannot wait for your customers to do that. You cannot wait for your customers to jump through the hoops. I don't know how many companies I would have done business with, but I was too lazy to, go watch their video or follow up with them or whatever. If they had tried a little harder, they could have sold me. So that's your job. Number 2, you want to qualify and book the leads on appointments. This is also a job for an appointment setter. Now, you want to trigger the emotions that will activate buying mode. That's the first job when you're in conversation with these leads. Let's take Messenger, for example. If they reach out to you with a lead magnet, you reach out to them, or if they raise their hand for a lead magnet, you reach out to them over Messenger, get them in this conversation. The first thing you want to do in this approach is to activate buying mode, and you do that by triggering the emotions. There's 2 emotions that activate buying mode. That's the fear and the desire, or the pain and the pleasure. Now, the number of qualified appointments that you have on your calendar is a leading indicator of potential revenue that you can make. Your job as an entrepreneur is to define the path of success or to success for others to follow. So the document I'm about to show you in the next video is the path to successfully booking qualified appointments. You'll notice one metric on the document has more impact on the revenue that you can make than any other metric. That key metric is the close rate or the close ratio. Having a low close ratio means that you'll have to exponentially increase your overall efforts. The booked appointments are the point in which money exchanges hands, okay, the sales call. Increasing your close rate may be the difference in a successful or failed campaign. Only after you've gained control with a reliable and consistent prospecting pipeline should you even consider scaling. This entire 7-day program is designed to help you gain control of your company's growth with a prospecting pipeline. So the reason that this prospecting pipeline is so important with the close rate is because if your close rate is 5% and it requires that you book 100 appointments in order to make 5 sales, then that's going to take you what? 20 appointments, let's say 20 appointments a week, it takes you 1 sale a week, okay? Whereas if your close rate is 10%, same numbers, you're getting 2 sales a week with no additional effort or output. If your close rate is 20%, now you're getting 4 closes every single week with the same amount of effort. This stands true for any ads that you run. A lot of people are, focusing on their cost per clicks or their CPMs or whatever. Those are all vanity metrics. You need to be paying attention to what is your actual customer acquisition cost. That's what's going to make the difference as to whether or not your campaign is going to be successful. And that customer acquisition cost is going to be determined by your salespeople and how many they're actually able to close. So let's jump on over to the next video where I'm going to show you this prospecting pipeline document.